These are 3 different ways that you can mark off your seam allowance for when you're sewing. Going in order from least to most permanent, the first method is one of these. This is a magnetic seam guide. I'll show you the one that I bought on Amazon. And it also came with this guide, and I'll show you how to use it. So this method is pretty simple. All you do is pick out your measurement, and for this example I'm going to do 3/4. So yeah, slide it underneath and drop your needle down just so that it goes through the hole right there, and make sure everything is square. You can align your magnet however you want to, if you want to set it up like this or at an angle or whatever. But yeah, align your magnet, and then you can remove your guide. This distance right here is 3/4, so it's pretty decent for lightweight fabrics, but if you get into like thick stuff like denim, then you just kind of have to be careful, because sometimes when you're feeding along the material, it'll move around a little bit. So you have to keep your eye on it and make sure that it doesn't move too much. But that's like only for the thick stuff is what I've noticed. The method that I use most often is this masking tape, and I'll show you. I got these colored masking tapes from Walmart, but you can literally use like any other tape that you wanted to. Basically, I use this same ruler to set up the most common seam allowances that I have. So for this pink one, it's 3/8, and I'll use this ruler again to mark out this line. And then I would lay this tape along that edge and do the same thing for the 5/8. If you don't have that ruler, then you can do the same thing pretty much with just a regular ruler, and just make sure that your lines are perpendicular, and you should be set. The last way that you can set it up is buying a different measured throat plate for your machines. This guy right here, this piece of metal, is called the throat plate, and you can buy different ones, and some of them will have the markings etched onto the actual plate, and that's nice if you're working with a bunch of different measurements more often. They're not that expensive, and they're usually pretty universal. But if you're, like I said, if you're working with like only a few measurements, you don't really need all those other ones on there, and it kind of can get confusing because it's just etched into the actual metal. So that's why I like using the tape measure instead. But that's another option as well.